Hello everybody, my name is Alex and I'm the solo game developer of the game Moroi. Moroi is a top-down hack and slash action game with heavy focus on dialogue and story, with crafting and weapon customizing as well as classical adventure mechanics. Its universe is a mix of dark fantasy, folklore and fairy tales, and it has a lot of weird characters with strange stories. This is my first devlog and I wanted to be an introduction into my development story, how I started working on this game and how my journey evolved. I also wanted to be a personal approach on development, as I want to talk about self-trust, doubt and some of the beautiful yet challenging times of being an indie game dev. My background is that of a generalist artist and I've worked for a couple of years in gaming before deciding to pursue my dream of becoming an indie game dev. So about a year and a half ago, I started with the Unreal 4 top-down template, and thinking this is gonna be the hardest part of my project, I decided to begin working on the inventory first. I have to mention that I did not know programming in any way, shape or form. I just found the how to do an inventory in Unreal playlist, link in the description, and I started following it. It was a very lengthy and hardcore tutorial for me at that time, and it also was my first time working with blueprints in the Unreal Engine. Needless to say, I was literally scared. I thought I could never learn this. I did not even understand what I was doing with all the variables and connections and stuff. Yeah, it was a nightmare and I felt discouraged like never before. The first real challenge appeared when I actually had to create something custom that I didn't find in the tutorial. The inventory tabs. I almost had a mental breakdown thinking I could not solve it, and I struggled for a while with this issue. But after tracing back all the steps and all the functions, and after a lot of trial and error, I really actually managed to implement the inventory tabs. The next breakthrough came when I actually managed to make the items I was picking up go into their specific tabs. The moment of making it work was absolutely magical, because now the materials were going into the material tab, the potions were going into the potions tab, and finally the weapon parts were going into the weapon parts tab. And yeah, I know it sounds stupid, but this was absolutely amazing for me. It was the first time I actually managed to quote-unquote code something by myself and see it work. Also, more importantly, I was finally starting to understand the basics of coding, which gave me some sense of self-trust, and I thought that I could accomplish the task of being a game dev, finally. I also liked the fact that I could finally see the weapon parts I designed for some time finally be part of a functional system, and that gave me a glimpse into how my game will look and feel, and that was amazing. Next, I returned to the tutorial I was talking about and I learned how to do the crafting mechanics and create a crafting window, and that was pretty cool. Now I finally had my own crafting window, but unfortunately it wasn't the crafting window I had in mind for my game. Yeah, of course, things had to be more complicated. The thing is, I didn't want to craft full weapons. The logic I was after was I wanted to create different weapon parts and then combine them together. So I wanted a sort of crafting plus customizing mechanic. So for me, back then achieving this task felt close to impossible. But to look on the bright side, at least I finally had weapons that I could equip, and that was pretty good. Anyway, in a relatively short time, I managed to have individual recipes for individual weapon parts, so I was on the way to achieving my goal. I created the recipe pickup, and fearing that I could not possibly solve this on my own, I actually bought a plugin from the Unreal Marketplace, link in the description. What the plugin does is it picks different weapon parts out of pools of meshes, then it attaches them together into compelling weapons. I started merging together the crafting and the inventory I had with the code of the plugin I bought, as I wanted a fully crafting modding inventory system. I wanted my weapon to be modular and modifiable. But this was by far the most complex thing I did, and to be honest, it turned out to be spaghetti code. I made it work, but it was badly written, and to be honest, I had to return and rewrite most of it in the next months as I started understanding blueprint and coding much better. Anyway, all in all, now I could craft weapon parts and combine them together into weapons, randomize and assemble them. The result is crude, but it is also fascinating. Starting from scratch with only a YouTube tutorial to finally being able to see the ideas in your head taking shape on screen and even better, working as you intended them to work. I don't know, it's a fulfilling feeling, and I felt that this was my first victory in the battle with the coding monster. Okay, now fast forward a couple of months, and this is how the game started looking after I finished the inventory, created my character, and decided I finally deserved to break some stuff using the hard work I put into it. You should know that by now I could already write my own functions without watching tutorials, and things were starting to snowball. This was one of the first moments when I finally felt I was playing a game, when I finally felt that my game was alive and no longer just a weird idea. Finally, putting them all together, here I'm picking up the recipes for a lot of weapon parts and the materials needed to craft them. This is the final inventory that I wanted to look like a fairy tale illustration. On the left are the recipes I just picked up. Among weapon parts, there are accessories like the spikes and the power chain and also the gems, which when attached to any weapon help boost its status. The cool thing is that the weapon retains all its accessories and gems even if you exchange its head or its handle, so it's fully customizable. In short, all accessories go with all weapons and all handles go with all weapon hands and so on. Also, the weapons all grow in level and change shape as they do, so mainly the RPG element in my game resides in the weapon and not in the player. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. This all means a lot to me, and to be completely honest, it's kinda scary doing this, so I'm sorry if I don't sound professional or if my voice sounds weird. Making this devlog is one of the things I always dreamed of doing ever since I started this whole journey, and I know it sounds stupid, but for now it feels like one of the harder things I ever did, especially since I'm not exactly a public speaker, and since I never thought I'd reach this point in game developing. This journey is hard, and I had a lot of down moments and also a lot of moments when I did not feel like doing anything. I know I can relate to a lot of you starting on the same path, and I can only hope I can help and keep you fighting for the goal of making it in this harsh environment. Building a community is extremely important, but it's also hard, and the same thing is true when you develop games and you are not part of a gaming community, a community of like-minded people. So that's why this devlog is very important to me. It's basically a chance to talk to you, share my feelings, ideas, hardships, and advice. Last but not least, one of the things I will talk about in this devlog is the importance of discovering your personality and putting it into your game's style, helping create more powerful games instead of more games by the numbers. I really hope you enjoyed my first entry in this devlog. I'd love to see your opinions down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, as it helps me continue developing and creating cool experiences for you guys. Also, if you want to know more about this game, check the links in the description, follow on Twitter, like on Facebook, and stay tuned for the next part of this blog. Keep on deving, and thanks again for watching.